Hello, Meoni here, and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV. This time a summary of Live Letter Part 65 that happened early hours, like 3 in the morning, my time, on the 10th of July 2021. This then, the 65 letter from a producer live, came as part of the 14-hour broadcast with this beautiful piece of artwork showing off the wonderful Radzat Han, the new hub, one of the new hubs, rather I should say, in the Endwalker expansion. So this is beautiful new art. I thought we'd kick off with this. I thought it was beautiful to see on the loading screen before the live letter itself. I thought I'd include that. It's very nice. I can just imagine myself sitting by that etherite. So then, hopping straight into the live letter, we got our benchmark trailer. There will be a benchmark for Endwalker, as you would, probably imagine by now. The benchmark itself will be available on July the 11th, so tomorrow, from the time of recording, at 8 AM BST. This benchmark will allow you to access character creation for both the original characters that we have in the game, but also for male Viera. So you'll be able to look at how you would want to customize your male Viera, which is pretty cool. I think you'll agree. Additionally to that, the benchmark trailer itself is full of information. Usually benchmarks have information that's kind of disjointed and show things in orders that you don't necessarily make any sense from. We even saw a version of Omega in there. I won't spoil it too much for you, but please go and watch the benchmark trailer. It's on the official Final Fantasy XIV YouTube channel right now, and it'll be the link in the top of the description of this video. So past the actual benchmark trailer, then we actually get the information on basically a recap of all of the information we know on Endwalker already, including the obvious new storyline, and of course mentioning again that this is the end of the Hydaelyn and Zodiac storyline. Then we also have information about the new cities, so we've got Radzat Han and Sharlayan. They do explain that Radzat Han will be basically like Yulmore, and Old Sharlayan will be a lot like the Crystarium. We didn't get any confirmation if we could mount up in these areas yet, sadly, but they did mention those comparisons. Apparently, when it comes to Garlemald, somebody did ask, and Yoshi P replied, will Garlemald be the next restoration, was a comment we got a lot. Warriors of Light are nice. When we see a broken city that they want, we want to rebuild it, basically. So maybe that's a hint towards actual Garlemald reconstruction. Next, we have information on, obviously, the new areas, just recap. And they obviously show the moon and that weird floating island that's possibly above Garlemald. Then they have information on the new dungeons, of course, just with that little recap that there's new dungeons. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to go over. They also talk about how Pandemonium will be the new high-end raid. They don't have any more information on that at this time. The new beast tribes, the Arcasadora and the Laporites. Again, no more information. They do say that these two beast tribes will be integral to the main storyline, probably very similar to Shadowbringers then with the Pixies. Then we have the Anima Sisters and Anima. Mega Sisters and Anima, and basically, apparently, there's been a lot of speculation that they're excited to see. People speculate how these could fit into the storyline, where they fit in, so I guess these new trials, we'll just have to wait and see. Looks very interesting to me, personally. Then, of course, we move on to the idea that there's new gear and crafting recipes. Yoshi P says at this point they are all in their final stages of the in-game artwork, basically done all the models, so that's good. Then we actually look at the artifact sets. So this time we are going to look at something new. First on screen then we have the new Paladin artifact gear for level 90 rather, which I think you'll agree it looks amazing. I know we've seen it on the obviously the poster and of course the trailer for Endwalker, but it looks really good in this concept art on a Rogadin. This then will be Warriors artifact set. Personally, a lot of these sets remind me of the level 50 stuff. There's a lot of vibes there. Very simple, but back to roots kind of designs. I quite like the axe, personally. We got Dark Knight here, which I think looks really, really good, the armor. It reminds me of a PvP set, and I'm pretty hyped to get that. I don't know if you agree, but I think that looks really, really good. Then you've got Gunbreaker. They show off a bunny boy here with the Gunbreaker weapon. It's kind of like a naval outfit, in my opinion. I don't know if you see the same thing as me, but it's sort of like that sort of naval pirate almost with the eye patch. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Then we've got Monk, which the picture was hard to get a proper picture of. I do apologise. I'm sure there'll be pictures of these on the internet at some point soon. But the Monk one, again, reminds me quite heavily of Stormblood or a mix of level 50 stuff. The Dragoon set is probably one of my favourites. It's kind of like that mash between Heavensward and Beyond. Very similar, very familiar looking sets, but that weapon is absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. Then we've got the Ninja, which personally I think is quite weak. We have a mask there for the helm. Those blades look pretty cool, but I'm not sure about the chest piece or the legs, but you might disagree. That's the beauty of taste, isn't it, at the end of the day? I have none, and you might have plenty more. Samurai then, which I think looks very similar to a lot of the stuff we've had before, but a lot of these sets can be, categorized that way. It's familiar, isn't it, territory? Not too bad. I quite like the sword on that one, but, I probably won't use that personally. We've got Bard, which I feel is very similar to the Ballad set. I've seen this multiple times in a game. If you closed your eyes and imagined a Bard set, this is probably what you've imagined. We've got a lot of gear like this in the game, so I'm surprised that they went this route again. But that's the Bard one. Then we have Machinist, which looks very interesting. I'm not sure if that's a different Queen mech there, but I don't know. But it's kind of hard to see on the Lalafell. It reminds me a little bit like Han Solo for some reason with that gun. Very sort of Star Wars-y for some reason. I really like it. But yeah, I'd like to see it on a full-size character. Dancer is actually one of my favourites. This is a really, really nice outfit. I think that the hot pants, the tights there with the stars on either leg, I love those. The basically frilly dress, like the cape that goes down from the top. This is probably one of my favourite artifact sets that they've done in a long time. I really like that one. I can't wait to get that and hopefully augment that at some point in content. Black Mage then, not my favourite cup of tea. You might disagree. Kind of, I don't know, it's fairly generic in my eyes personally, but that's only because we've got very similar outfits, like I say, in the game, but it's familiar, right? It hits the Black Mage notes perfectly with each look and each glance. Then we've got Summoner, which, I believe, I can't quite tell on this image, but I think that's another Summoner Dong, so I'm sure Larry Zor will be very happy about that, but it looks very good, doesn't it? It's not too bad. I have no problems with that one. It's very familiar, like I say. Nothing to stand out, though, maybe. I think that's maybe some of my criticism. Then we've got Red Mage, which that's my criticism here as well, is that it looks very familiar. Almost like a fire chief or something with that hat. I'm not sure why I'm getting that sort of vibe. Familiar, but it's not bad. I quite like that. Why are we holding a Fabergé egg is my other question with that Red Mage outfit. Then we have White Mage, which as much as this does take on a level 50 sort of aesthetic, and we've seen these colours and combinations quite a lot, that staff, my goodness, I love it so very much. And the dress is beautiful. I can't wait to get a hold of this and hopefully an augmented version in the future. I can see myself probably wearing that. I'm not sure about having a tiara as a headpiece. Hopefully that's not a result of, the Vieira situation and trying to get more, less covering headpieces. I do notice that for a lot of the sets, but it does look really nice in my opinion. Some of you might be saying, it just looks like the same White Mage stuff we've had for years, Meoni. Whilst I agree, I do think it's quite a nice evolution, very familiar, and I do like it. Scholar, however, probably a little bit too familiar. The colour scheme is probably not my favourite or cup of tea. I think the weapon is fairly unoriginal compared to some of the weapons we've had, but it is what it is. It's familiar, like I say, and it does look... Does it say level 90, though? Does it really look level 90 to you? I'm not really sure. And then we have Astrologian, which was the last one we got to look at, which I quite like the weapon itself, actually. The globe is pretty cool. It reminds me of the sort of like Caesar, Roman Empire kind of looking outfits you can get in PvP just on that weapon. Quite nice, actually. The dress is interesting. It reminds me very heavily of Oriange. Not really a bad thing in the slightest. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's it's not the most outward thinking outfit I've seen. But we all have our own opinions and tastes at the end of the day, and I'm probably completely wrong. Now, Sage and Reaper aren't included in these because obviously we've already seen those in trailers and stuff, and they don't have any art here at this point. In relation to the new dungeons, they do want to mention that those will be able to be revisited in Explorer mode in future content. They bring up this slide full of additional updates. They just wanted to clarify a few points, which is quite important. So yeah, we'll be able to Explorer mode the new dungeons at some point later. Pandemonium, the raid series, he said that the normal and savage modes will be released within 2 weeks in between. So apparently we are getting ready to raid at Christmas. That has been confirmed. So Christmas raiding, I hope you're up for that. Myths of the Realm Alliance raid series, that will be launched in 6.1, which is fairly early in my opinion. So we'll have the Ultimate at the same time as the Alliance raid. Quite interesting. For the new beast tribes, the Arcasadora and Leporits, they will be again playing a very important role in the actual expansion. They don't want to talk about just yet, but yeah, that's pretty much how it is. So the recap of the content then, apparently the small scale PvP stuff they didn't want to talk about in the live letter today. They will be focusing on that in a separate broadcast closer to Endwalker. So this isn't the last live letter in the universe. We'll get another one with more details. Apparently the housing system is something that they're working on. Apparently they're developing a lottery system for housing. It will be based on first come first serve wards, and there'll also be a lottery ward system. So if you know anything about the lottery systems on Japanese, like for FanFest, for example, essentially you put your money in, you buy it as if you were going to purchase the house, I presume, and then it will just pick at random whoever actually gets to purchase the house and everybody else gets their money back. So that's the way that they're going to be doing those lottery wards going forward, which is pretty exciting. Very exciting indeed. Usual requirements need to be met. You can't join on a free trial, and you need to deposit gil in advance to purchase a house regardless. But yeah, they apparently have also made solo wards, so people who have individual houses only, and FC only wards, so only FCs can purchase houses in specific wards as well. But we can freely swap around, and we'll adjust these settings closer to the release of the game. So there we go, that's how they're doing the housing system. So they do have an answer for the housing system. They admit that it's not the best, thankfully, finally. And this is a system they've come up with, which personally I think, I'll see it when I believe it. We'll see what it does. I'm not going to naysay it before I've tried it, but a lottery system is probably something that has been recommended multiple times by multiple content creators. So it's nice to see that feedback's sinking in. Next up then, information on the data center travel system. Quote here, data center travel will be limited to regions first, end quote. Second quote, you cannot visit Japan from NA, end quote. So those are two separate lines. The first one then being first is the operative word. So presumably they're trying to work on region travel at some point, but this will not be included in this first iteration. And the second bit there, you cannot visit Japan from NA. I don't know if that's related to the first thing or if that's just a second statement, but you'll never be able to actually travel between Japan and NA, but never say never. It's just, at least we have confirmation now, and all of those people who told me, no, Meoni, it's definitely going to be in, we'll definitely be able to go from Ether to Chaos, etc. Well, there you go. I knew for a fact that we shouldn't have actually just speculated. We should have just gone off of the factual information there, and thankfully, I'm happy that I did. Otherwise, I would have too been very disappointed, like many people are probably right now. In terms of other information, there will be obviously big updates to the Gold Saucer. Nothing too much to talk about right now. And obviously new housing in Ishgard and the rest of it, as you see on screen here. And the new Oceania data center. So past that point, they talk a little bit about the item squish and the downscaling for the battle calculation. So I won't read through this too much, but essentially the reason for it is because of overflow causing lag to servers. The way they're doing this is basically making it there's sort of all kinds of different adjustments individually. The increase in gear stats between 50 and 80 will be more limited. The overall health, attributes, and damage values will be reduced. Enemy health and damage dealt will also be reduced, and experience points will be reduced, so there's less spikes for less like Q&A thing that they did. So, are the Warriors of Light getting weaker? The same adjustments apply to players, allies, and enemies too, so you won't find battles much more difficult than before. They say, will this affect undersized parties? The changes to gear stats will have an effect, so we'll add a small buff to compensate, so presumably the echo will be applied for that situation on undersized. So we don't get big hits anymore, like Fire 4 for 50,000 damage or Despair for 100,000 damage. The answer is, if the baseline for damage was 100,000 before, now it will be 20,000, which is basically a fifth of what it was. Strong attacks will still be strong, but display a smaller number, obviously. They say that for belt removal next, belts in your inventory will just remain there, and you can actually get stuff from a Calamity Salvager. Stuff will be automatically moved there. Belts no longer are equipable, basically, as soon as 6.0 comes out, and will not be able to be obtainable from duties or item exchanges. And as a result of that, you can actually go to basically get materia out of them and sell these things to a vendor. There's like a specific vendor for all of this as well, as you can see. So nice and easy. And as a result of this, as a little gift, the 35 slots for belts in the armory chest will be reallocated, as you probably already knew. So we get 15 slots to the main hand weapons, which is kind of amazing personally, and 15 slots to rings, totaling a 50 for each. So if you're like me and have multiple weapons and lots of glamour as well and bits and pieces, then you'll no longer have to put weapons in your inventory to make do, which is quite nice. And the final thing really to talk about then on the live letter is the schedule for what's to come in the future. So basically the first thing to talk about is the events, and of course when Endwalker actually launches. So Friday, November the 19th will be the early access for Endwalker. We have Tuesday, November the 23rd for Endwalker's official service beginning. Then we have events such as All Saints Wake. Now, All Saints Wake will be scheduled for November the 30th this year. So there is actually an All Saints Wake, which is quite surprising. I didn't think they would do one. That's November the 30th, so as soon as we're actually in Endwalker. We have a Starlight Celebration for Christmas. That'll be December 15th. With lots of rewards. We have Heaven's Turn on January the 1st, 2022. And we also have the Make It Rain campaign on Monday, July the 19th, so just around the corner. And yeah, it's pretty much looking quite good. So just to reiterate then, we have Make It Rain campaign, we have patch 5.58, as you can see there, which brings with it season 20 of the feast with miscellaneous updates, the Moonfire Fair and the Rising event. Then we have the Final Fantasy 15 collaboration event, and in mid-September, with no dates really scheduled at the moment, there will be a media tour. The media tour in particular apparently will be centered around basically it being a remote event. So this will be something that even if you're different parts of the world, you should be able to take part in. So hopefully EU gets some representation, and hopefully I'm asked this time. It would be very nice to be included in that and bring you some stuff, whether that's footage or if we get to play on a private server or something and record stuff. I have no idea, but that would be pretty exciting. I think you'll agree. Then we have the Moogle Treasure Trove well into, basically into October the 19th, which is quite surprising. That should be the one where the Inferno jacket that's being worked on currently in the live letter and the 14-hour broadcast. The Inferno jacket should be one of the rewards from that as well. Then we have the Early Access, Endwalker Begins, All Saints Wake, Starlight Celebration and Heaven's Turn, and then we're into the new year. So realistically, there's quite a lot to look forward to in the future. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the main information. The other stuff to just hit on then is they went into the benchmark character creation, which you'll be able to do tomorrow effectively as well. And they showed Vieira. There's a character select screen with male and Vieira. So that's what the difference between Rava and Vina. Vina obviously very light-skinned and Rava dark-skinned. I think they look pretty cool actually. They have 17 hairstyles to choose from with varying different styles. We've got some face options. Basically, have fun with the character creation. It looks to be quite interesting, and I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it, much more than I will. They also mentioned here that male Vieira are much smaller than female Vieira. That is a canon thing. You cannot make them very tall at all. And female Vieira will always be the taller of the two. So that is now completely canon and answers that question. So the second half of the live letter was pretty much all Q&A with Yosuke Saito and Yokotaro from Nier, taking questions actually, and answering them to do with the Nier raids that were included in Final Fantasy XIV. So whilst we're not going to cover that in this particular video, I might do another one at a later time covering it. But that's pretty much the entire live letter. The only thing left now to do is to look at the announcements. So the next live letter, part 66, will be in mid-September. This apparently will be focusing on battle-related topics alongside the media tour, which should be well ahead during progress at that point. Then live letter number 67 will apparently be in early November, revealing additional information before the early access of Endwalker actually begins. So that's even more hype to look forward to. We're so close now. It's ridiculous, isn't it, how fast time is marching on. The benchmark will have a benchmark screenshot campaign contest. This starts on July the 11th when the benchmark is available until Monday, July the 26th. There will be more details on the lodestone, and that's all the information we have at this point. There's a free logging campaign that started on the 9th of July and lasts until Monday, August 23rd. If you want to return to the game, then you can do so for free. The Death Unto Dawn original soundtrack, again, you might have already pre-ordered this. They announced that the reward for actually getting this soundtrack is a minion, and is indeed the Lena minion, so I'm very happy that I've pre-ordered that ahead of this news personally. The Eorzea Collection magazine, which is normally Japan only, is Japan only once again, but you can get it on other stores if you use Google. They obviously talk about that. There's a Namazu balloon thing, which is a Japanese exclusive, called a Daruma, which apparently is a traditional Japanese doll. You can get those. And they also announced a Lawson crossover with 14 again, with some karaage chicken, which looks gorgeous, and I'm hungry now, which is Japan exclusive. Apparently there should be some crossover items or something that they might show at a later time on a lodestone. But that really is all of the announcements. Thank you kindly for watching this video. Thank you very much for all of the lovely feedback lately on videos. It always helps. I know this one's a bit of a long one, but I didn't want to skimp out on some of the topics. Hopefully this format works for you. Much love, and I'll see you all next time.